All right, welcome race fans. This is the High Octane Racing League Friday night series main event. I'm your host, Heath Johnson. We're in the final event after two heat races at Road America. Just getting ready to take the green flag. We are currently after warm-up. We're going to do a couple minutes here and then we're going to go straight to race. 30 lap points race. Again, this is High Octane Racing League Friday night series. StockCarSimRacing.com is your host. Turn Left TV will be doing the broadcast. I'm your host, race broadcaster, and controller, Heath Johnson. Thank you for joining us this evening. Looks like Joe Miller qualified on the pole here for this event. First two races we did using the new broadcast software, so we'll see how that turns out. We're going back to the old standby for this final event. Hopefully we'll be making that transition to the new software, broadcast software, once I learn all the ins and outs, and also once we get all the sound and everything adjusted appropriately. That new version is going to be a lot better than what we have. A lot more features than what we're using right now. So we're currently in the warm-up session, just waiting on another driver to get in. Make sure our software is working correctly. Yep, there we go. We're looking at Dan Richter as he makes a few laps here, steals a few laps under warm-up. Good luck to Dan this evening. Waiting on one more driver to enter the fray. We got 11 drivers tonight. Dan getting all he can out of that car. In the warm-up session, pushing that car to its limits. Again, this is the Friday night series. Road America, road course style here. Always enjoy broadcasting the road courses. A lot of action. Some really good camera views on the road courses, so it's always an interesting broadcast. Paul Brown's in. Paul Brown's going to be joining us tonight, so we appreciate Paul's. All right, here we go. I'm going to take the most famous words in motorsports here, Toby Keith. I'm going to give that to us today.
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, singer, songwriter, megastar, and Ford truck man, Toby Keith.
It's time to get in, sit down, shut up, hold on, drivers, start your engine.
All right, Toby Keith giving us the command to start the engines. Our pole setter, as we said, was the number 4 of Joe Miller. Joe had won that second heat race. Ed Palumbo sitting in the second position. So we'll go through the field here for our main event. Second spot, second position is jump in here with looking at the 54 car. 65 of Dan Richter's in third. 7X of Gino Bardelli, he's at 115 on the grid, started in the fourth position for the main event. 82 of Tim Lansbury, starts in fifth position. 30 of Bruno Champagne, starts in the sixth position. 85 of Tom McKeever, starts in the seventh position. 71 of Jim Barasov, starts eighth. 21 of Steve Pierce, starts in the ninth position. 83 of Don Kelligrew, starts in the 10th position. And the number 70 car, Paul Brown, starts in the 11th position. So Joe Miller, our pole sitter here for the main event. Two very fast cars here, starting 1 and 2 on the grid. Another feature we'll be showing you tonight is the compared 3 driver feature. I've been working on that a little bit, so this will give you the place of the driver. The corner we're focused on will be in yellow, best lap and the last lap, and then comparing the other 2 drivers. That's a feature we'll be bringing to you from now on. So 11 cars here in this road course race. Only local yellows on the road courses, so no full course cautions. So we'll be green all the way. Again, as with any road course, each lap it's got a lot of twists and turns, obviously, and a lot of work. You're always up on the wheel, working the pedal, working the brakes, checking your mirrors, just trying to keep that car on the track, hit your marks, and not wear out your tires. So
Green
here
flag,
they
green
are,
flag,
green
go, go,
flag,
go.
Bringing it up the hill. 54 in the 4, drag racing down the straightaway. And the 4 get together there early. So some first lap shenanigans here. Turn 1, 54 had that inside line, was not going to back off. The 4 car see what happened there. We can't look at that fence that led up to that. No, we missed her. Here we go, coming into the turns. Looks like the 54 may have gotten in hot, gotten up high, and got into the corner, left rear quarter panel of the, or the right rear quarter panel of the 4 car. That first lap shenanigans, call that. Fighting for the same real estate where the 54 gets sideways. 54 gets sideways here. We'll take a look and see what happened to him. where you're going to see the 54 get off the track, trying to catch his car. Oh, the 85 car trying to miss it, gets into the wall. See what 85 just trying to miss this action. See him take a hard right into the wall. Up there in the cockpit view. This is going to be a mess right here. See that 54 trying to gather his car up, and then Roy, Tom McKeegan just had nowhere to go. He's trying to avoid the 54 and gets in to the wall. So unfortunate event there for Tom. Tom pulls off the track there and retires his machine. So sorry to see that happen to Tom. He had a really good races there in the first and second heats. So our race leader right now is Dan Richter. He was able to get around all of that mess at the beginning and has a 7.5 second lead on second place, Ed Palumbo. So after all those problems Ed's had with getting off the track, he's able to maintain second place. Tim Lansbury currently in the third position, 82 car. Try our cycle feature here. So we'll look at the 65 gets off the track. 65 is our race leader currently. We had a little bit of work there. Second place is the 54 of Ed Palumbo. Third place is the 82 of Tim Lansbury. Fourth place is the 115 of Gino Bardelli. Fifth place is Don Killiger, the 83 car. So just going to give us the, there we go. Well, I missed the fifth place car. So the 30 is the Bruno Champagne. Missed the fifth place car. We'll turn that on. Not working. Let's do it manually. Here we go. Gino Bardelli is our fourth place car. Followed by our fifth place car of Don Kelligrew. Sixth place car is Bruno Champagne. You see somebody off the track back there. Seventh place car, Joe Miller is our pole sitter. Some word that Paul Brown may have spun. Take a look at what happened to Paul. So Paul just took that turn a little bit too wide, and looking at Joe Miller right now. See if we can't figure out. Dan Richter's had some issues. Dan Richter getting the word that he may have been off the track. So the 65 car, Dan Richter, and that's a warp issue right there, it looks like. Yeah, looked like a warp issue with Dan. Fortunately, that does happen. Dan having a few connection issues. Back up here looking at the seventh place car. Dan's obviously having some connection issues. This is a good battle on the track here. The seventh place car of Joe Miller is looking on the back of, like that, there we go, cockpit view. So looking at the 4 car, some more dust kicked up there just ahead. So the number 4, Joe Miller, 7th place car, Ford, working on the outside there, going down the straightaway. He's going to try to, I think, probably take that low line in the turn. Nope, he's going to drag race Bruno Champagne to the line there. So 4 of Joe Miller is able to get around Bruno Champagne. Take over that 5th spot. Well, we got a gaggle of cars here. Joe Miller in 5th, looking ahead at Don Kelligrew in the 4th position, and Gino Bardelli's in 3rd. A lot of action here. We'll take a look out of the front of Joe Miller's machine. Boy, he really gets around Don Kelligrew. He's cutting the course there, down low, off the track, and he makes it work. Somebody's squeaking their horn at him. He's trying to get the low side there, and gets it, backs off. Again, a lot of action here. The 83 and the 4 are battling it out. Right now, the 4 got around the 83. I believe that Spider-Man Chevy 83 is too happy about that. Wants that spot back. 4 car off the track there again. You know, you suspect the 4 car, you know, is running pretty fast, but his time. Ooh, you see the 115 of Gino Bardelli gets off the track. So the 4 car, Joe Miller, is now 3rd, but being challenged by Don Kelligrew. So a lot of action going on here for 3rd, 4th, 5th. A lot of racing going on early on. We're 5 laps in. We got 25 laps to go. We got some hard racing going on. Bruno Champagne get off the track there. Take a look and see what happened to Bruno. Bruno just gets in hard here, and he's trying to get that car woed up and gets off the track. Oh boy, Gino Bardelli was lucky to miss him. Also getting some action here with Jim Barasoff. Getting wide, he gets into the wall. Be some damage there, but probably not too bad, but he definitely got into the wall on the left side. Following Joe Miller's machine right now. Sits in the 3rd position. Back up here and look at our race leader, the 54 of Ed Palumbo. It's got a 10-second lead on the rest of the field. Of course, these guys that behind him have been running pretty hard, so he's got clean track here and no lap cars, nobody to race with, so he's been able to open up a considerable cushion. Everybody seems to have settled down for the moment. Very action-packed 5 laps. Fast and furious. Take a look at what we got on the docket here tomorrow night. Is the Saturday Night Thunder High Octane Racing League, Saturday Night Thunder League. Michigan International Speedway. 100 lap race, 75% damage. This is the Elite League fixed setup. Michigan International Raceway. That's going to be exciting. That's going to be 3 and 4 wide. And ran that last week with some guys on Saturday, and man, I really like the setup. The tires kind of go away, and it really makes it racy. Guys sliding up the track, so that's going to be an interesting race. Saturday night. Coming up on Tuesday night is the Next Level Racing Series event. This is going to be at Michigan International Speedway, June 27th. 100 laps with an open setup, and we have knockout qualifications, 3-round knockout qualifications for that. So that's going to be Tuesday night. Coming up on Wednesday, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Ironman Racing Series. Fixed setup, tire rule. It's Wednesday, June 28th. Got a battle on the track here for the second position. Joe Miller is able to get around Tim Lansbury to take over the second spot. We'll see how that happened. Joe Miller just gets in hard, gets into that turn, gets on the bottom line, is able to get around Tim Lansbury. So Joe Miller working his way up to second position. It'll be an interesting battle to see what happens if he gets back up there to that 54 car. If you remember, they had a little discussion there on lap 1, getting into turn 1, with those guys setting 1 and 2 on the grid to start the race. Take a look back here at the 83 car of Don Kelligrew getting around the 70 car. The 70 of Paul Brown is 1 lap down. So Don Kelligrew in the 3rd position, 17 seconds off the lead. Tim Lansbury sitting in the 4th position. Coming up on the lap car, 70 of Paul Brown. Look out of the front of Tim Lansbury's machine. You can see Paul Brown just in front of him. Tim gets back in the gas. That Skyline Chili, number 82, sitting in the 4th position. Running 5th right now is the 30 car, Bruno Champagne. Having a good solid run. Some word that Steve Pierce might have had some trouble here. We'll take a look at what happened to Steve. Steve Pierce, again, just gets in a little bit too hot to that turn and gets his car around. Fortunately, does not make any contact with the wall, so that's good news for Steve. Again, we're following Bruno Champagne here. Gino Bardelli, the 115 car, driving the 7X paint scheme tonight, sits in the 6th position. Qualified 3rd, I believe. Jim Barasoff, 71 Bud Light machine, currently running in the 7th position. Last car on the lead lap. Paul Brown, 70 of Paul Brown, Ridge Runners Racing Chevy. Currently running in the 8th position, 1 lap down. Steve Pierce, we just looked at him a few minutes ago, Captain Morgan Racing Chevy, number 21. Just ahead of our leader, the 54 car. You see a 54 going around him. So Steve Pierce sitting in the 9th position, 2 laps down. Dan Richter, the 65 car. Looks like he's had some issues here with his tires. Been a tough way to go. Once you chew up those tires, it's hard to make laps here at this track. So Dan Richter, the 65 car, 3 laps down. Sitting in the 10th position. Don Kelligrew taking over the 2nd position. Joe Miller's making a pit stop. So Joe Miller making a pit stop, and that allows a few guys to get around. So getting the word that Ed Palumbo's gotten off the track here. We'll see what happened to Ed. Looks like he's making a pit stop. That's what happened to Ed. Be nice if it'd tell me when they're pitting, not just that they're off the track. But, so Ed Palumbo, our race leader, making a pit stop, and so is the 83 car, Don Kelligrew. He's making his pit stop as well. So a lot of guys making pit stops here as we go through the field. Look and see what issue with Jim Barasoff is. Looks like Jim just gets off the track there a little bit. He's able to get it back on. It's all right. So you see a lot of guys making pit stops here. The 82s come in, the 30 come in, and then Don Kelligrew's finished up his pit stop. Spider-Man Toyota Camry back out on the track. Don Kelligrew keeps his car in third position after pit stop. And our race leader is the 54 car of Ed Palumbo. And what we got going on here, StockCarSimRacing.com hosts all of these leagues that we broadcast. Currently, we are Friday night in the main event, Road America. Tomorrow night, we'll be doing another high-octane racing league event. Racing will get underway somewhere around 9:45. And Sunday morning, Oceania Racing Series, that is out of Australia, Gary Cross's league at 5 a.m. for you folks here in the Eastern time zone. That's 5 a.m. your time. It'd be nice for you guys if you stay up that late or get up that early to come out and join those guys at Australia. Sunday night, the Men's Senior Racing League, MSRL, holds their event. Starts at 8 p.m. At least the practice does. So if you're interested in that league, contact the admin. Always looking for some senior racing drivers to join them. So we're watching our leader, Ed Palumbo, 54 car. He's got a 3.5 second lead on Joe Miller. So I tell you what, this is going to be an interesting battle to watch here once these cars get closer together. And just to recap here on lap 1, going into turn 1, these two cars got together. Fortunately for Joe, he got the worse end of the deal. He was our pole sitter, so we'll be interested to see how this shakes out. The 54 and the 4, they settle that dispute or rekindle that dispute as we get here a few laps in. We're 10 laps into this race. And that lap is there, that gap is tightening, 2.7 seconds. Some issues here with as Dan Richter's gotten off the track. We'll take a look and see what he can back out on the track. Sorry, Gino Bardelli seems he had some issues. So we'll look at Gino. Gino just gets in way too hot here and hits the tire barrier. Not too hard, but let's look at Steve Pierce. Steve Pierce has spun his car around. Again, not too much, not too severe. So right now, watching the 54 car lead the race, just behind him is that number 4 machine of Joe Miller. Take a look out of the back of the 54 car, and you can see the 4 inching his way forward. So this battle is going to be heating up here pretty soon. Joe Miller on a mission just ran the fastest lap of the race, 2:03. So closing that gap, he is less than a second behind the 54 car. So this is a battle to watch right here on the track. It's a race for the lead. So the 4 car looking at the 54. Sure that 54 car knows that 4 cars on the back of him now, so this is going to be an interesting battle as they work their way through that turn. Joe Miller swinging that car wide, using all the track. So on lap 11, this battle for the lead is heating up. Take a look out of the front of Joe Miller's machine. See him just behind the 54 car, Joe Miller. And Jimmy John's Racing Ford looking ahead at the 54 of Ed Palumbo. These guys rekindle that battle they had earlier in the race. So we're just a third of the way into this race, and these guys are going to be fighting like it's the last lap. Joe swings that car high, and then he's going to try to get a good run off the turn. Taking his time there through the S's. Again, slightly different line here in the 54, so using all of that crack there, getting on those rumble strips. In this battle for first and second, well, they're actually battling for first, but the 54 car has it, the 4 car wants it. Up here with Ed Palumbo, we're looking out in front of Ed Palumbo's machine, and you can see in the back is that 54 car. I don't think I quite have my setting quite correct on the field of view, so I apologize here. You can't quite see. I was racing the other night and had to adjust that. Back up here at the 54 car. So again, you don't see all of the mirror because I adjusted my field of view while running some laps in a GT series car last night, and had to move that field of view a little bit. This is the battle for first on the track. 54 and the 4. Lap 12, still running 1-2 right there together. That's 0.2 of a second separate these guys. Good battle here on the track. 54 and the 4. Both these guys hitting their marks. Nobody making any mistakes. 54 is able to make up about 3 seconds after pit stops and close this gap. So he might be just biding his time, waiting for the 54 car to make a mistake. Jump back here and look at the 4th place car of Bruno Champagne. He's 35 seconds off the lead. Just behind him, you can see Tim Lansbury. He's 37 seconds down. So these guys are fairly close to each other on the track. This battle might be heating up here pretty soon. Joe Miller just took the lead here. See how that happens if Joe Miller's gotten the lead from Ed Palumbo. So they start lap 14, racing into turn 1, where the shenanigans happened at the beginning of the race. Joe Miller puffing a little smoke there off his tires as he gets through turn 1, now going through turn 2. So we're going to take a look at how that pass happened. So Joe Miller swinged that car wide, and then Ed gets his car a little squirrely, and Joe Miller's able to get around on the left side. So Joe Miller taking the lead here as they cross the start-finish line to start lap 14. So that Jimmy John's Ford Fusion number 4 back in the lead, our pole sitter. Good tight battle here. And again, it'll be one of those deals where you're not going to be able to make a mistake because the other guy is going to take advantage of that. You see how much of a different line through that turn that Joe is running compared to Ed. So an excellent battle. So Ed really gets wide there. Really pushing his car to the limit. Some word that Steve Pierce has gotten off the track. Spins his car around again. Fortunately, does not make contact with any tire barrier, so that's good news. Look at this race here for sixth place. Whoa, Gino Bardelli gets his car off the track, so Jim Barasoff sitting in the 7th position. These guys racing for position. Last 2 cars on the lead lap. About 10 seconds ahead of the leaders on the track. 115, Gino Bardelli was able to get his car gathered up, getting off the track. This is a tough track. There's a lot of work here, you know, in any road course. You just cannot let your concentration lag for 1 split second, or you're gonna lose control, miss your mark, potentially lose control of your car. But these guys are some excellent racers, able to gather that back up and really not even lose a position here. So that speaks to the driving skills of Gino Bardelli. So our Denver, Colorado native, currently running 6th here in the main event, Road America. look at Don Kelligrew as he got off the track here. Yeah, he had a little bit of trouble getting into that turn and snapped around on him again. He missed the tire barrier, so that's good for Don. Doesn't lose a position. Gino Bardelli making his pit stop. Take a look and see where this gap is here. Whoa, Joe Miller making his, you're going to take a look and see what he was up to, and he's making his pit stop. So Joe Miller, after taking the lead, leading 2 laps, now is making his pit stop. So that will give the lead back to the 54 car of Ed Palumbo. Take a look at the results from last week. Travis Joyner won that race at Michigan International Speedway, followed by the 54 of Ed Palumbo. Mitchell Smith, 58, finished in 3rd. Mark Snyder was 4th. Dan Richter rounded out the top 5. That was last week at Michigan. The current standings, season standings, the 82 of Tim Lansbury, 2 points ahead of the 2nd place driver, Mitchell Smith. Dan Richter is in 3rd. Ed Palumbo sits in 4th, 14 points back. There's 15 points back. It's Jim Parasoff. So, man, we have a really tight battle there. I should say that Dan Richter and Ed Palumbo are tied for 3rd. In 5th spot, Jim Parasoff. It's a really tight battle there, 1 through 5. Early on here in the season, Octane Racing League Friday Night Series. On the schedule, and we're doing Road America tonight. Next week, and anything can happen on the track, Daytona International Speedway. Some guys hate it, some guys love it. But to tell you what, it puts a lot of guys who may not normally be in the running. You see Ed Palumbo making his pit stop here. A lot of guys who aren't normally in the running can keep their car in the draft, and anything can happen at that track. And, unfortunately, the guys that don't like it probably don't like it because they've been caught up in some pretty big accidents. We usually have the big one there. Again, that's Daytona International Speedway. So that's coming up next week. You see Ed Palumbo making his pit stop. Don Kelligrew is also in the pits. As he's coming into the pits, that will surrender the lead to Joe Miller. Suspect he'll be the leader as we cross the line. Joe Miller jumping out there. So Joe Miller looks like he's pitted a little bit earlier, 2 laps earlier than Ed. So we'll see how that works out. Ed just behind him on the track. So 17 laps in, the 4 car leads the field. 3.5 seconds ahead of Ed Palumbo. So Ed's on fresher tires, 2 laps fresher tires. Not that that's a huge deal, but as many turns, twists and turns here may give him somewhat of an advantage later in the run. Steve Pierce has decided to retire his car here. We'll take a look and see what happened. He just got in a lot way too hot, really significant contact with the tire barrier, and decided to retire his machine. So sorry to see that for Steve. 3.8 second lead, Joe Miller. 54 of Ed Palumbo. We'll run down through the field here. Again, 54 of Joe Miller leading the field, followed by the 54 of Ed Palumbo, running in the second position. Running third is the 83 of Don Kellegrue. Our fourth place driver is Bruno Champagne in the number 30 car. Good look at Bruno there. Fifth place, the 82, Tim Lansbury, our season points leader. Paul Brown sits in the sixth position. He is the first car, one lap down, number 70 car. '71 to Jim Parasoff, the Bud Light machine, sits in the seventh position. '7X, which is the 115 on the grid, Gino Bardelli, sits in the third or the eighth position. And our last car still in the race is the 65 of Dan Richter, as you see him get hot around that turn. So worked his way up to a 5.1 second lead. We saw a few laps ago he ran the fastest lap of the race. So late in the race here, Joe Miller is not backing off. See if we can't see what his fastest lap was. 2 minutes 3 seconds, .353. So 2:03.353. And that is 1.9 seconds ahead of the second place car, Ed Palumbo, as far as lap time, fastest lap time. So Joe Miller has got a fast car tonight. So if he can keep it on the track and doesn't use up his tires, I think got a pretty good shot of winning this race. So 19 laps in, Joe Miller continuing to set a fast pace. See him get wide there on those rumble strips. He's going through the S's right now. Get it woed up here for the hard right-hander. We've seen a lot of guys go into the kitty litter on that turn. Here are the S's. Pardon me. So you see he's using all the track there, even a little grass. Comes over here to start lap 20 over the hill. So again, he's at a 7.9 second lead on that. Oh, he gets wide there. You see he was carrying a lot of speed, and you lose your concentration just for a split second. And he was lucky to gather that car up and keep from getting into the gravel or the tire barrier. So we'll see what that costs him on the track. So right now 7.9 seconds. After that, See how that affects his segment time and his lead. It doesn't seem to affect it, so he's 7.2 seconds. So he's still doing pretty well. Got a fast car, so take a look at what happened to Joe. And he just gets in pretty hot here and gets off the track. Again, lucky not to get into that gravel. He stays on the pavement. See what kind of terror that must have been going through his mind as he's sliding that car around and getting it off the track. So almost into the gravel, and he gets back out. So I know that feeling, I know the terror that goes through your mind when you're feeling that car is not turning and you're cranking on the wheel and its tires aren't gripping, they're just sliding across the track. So Joe able to get that gathered up to maintain his lead. Take a look back here at the second place machine of Ed Palumbo. 7.3 seconds back. Early race leader. Segment 1 winner. Heat 1, I should say. So comes up here to start lap 21 for him. 39 seconds back is the 83 machine of Don Kellebrew. Makes his way up the hill. Jump back up here with the leader. .1 seconds ahead of the second place car, Ed Palumbo. Again, swinging that car wide off the turns. It's sort of been his style here at this track. Guess that's why they paved that part of the track, so you can use it. And you see using those rumble strips, taking a really fast line around this track. Yeah, there we go. You see he's taking that line again. Just nipping the grass there. Went off that turn. Up the hill here, getting ready to start lap 22. So winding down the laps. Suspect these guys may be coming in for another pit stop before it's over with. Bears off passing Paul Brown on the track. Paul might have been in the pits. So that was a non-event, I guess. I thought it was a pass on the track. False alarm. It was a good pass nonetheless, Jim, even though Paul Brown was in the pits. We got some guys making some pit stops here. Late in the race. See Tim Lansbury just ahead of Paul Brown. Excuse me, Joe Miller. And Lansbury fighting to stay on the lead lap. Jump in the Cockpit view here. Joe Miller's machine. Tim Lansbury's going to let him go on this in this turn. Joe's able to get by with. Boy, he does get off the track there a little bit. Again, it just kind of throws off your line. Don't hit it just right, even though somebody is letting you go by. You're on the radio, 82 car. One of the nicest drivers we have here on the track. Just letting him go, and it just throws off the line a little bit, throws off your rhythm, and you can get off the track. Not too many problems there on that pass. Back in here and look at the outside view, the trackside view. 4-car, 9.5 second lead on second place machine of Ed Palumbo. See just behind Joe is the 82 car, Tim Lansbury. Tim's 1 lap down. A lot of guys spread out here on the track. See the 5th place car of Tim Lansbury. Jump back here with the Jim Barasoff machine running in the 6th position. Just ahead of him, I believe, is Tim Lansbury. So Tim's 4 or 5 seconds ahead. Paul Brown is running in the 7th position. Gino Bardelli, 115 car, running 8th. See him get on the brakes hard as he enters that turn. And then the 65 car of Dan Richter. Dan has made his pit stop, I believe. He's 4 laps down. Joe Miller, our race leader, coming into the pits, so it's the final pit stop of the race, barring any problems. So you see 4 car making his pit stop. And you see the 54 car of Ed Palumbo just coming in behind Joe Miller. So the 54 pitting just behind Joe Miller. Joe Miller taking 4 tires. See him bringing off the jacks. That leaves Ed Palumbo just getting his car off the jack. See where Joe is on the track. You see Joe exiting the pits. Jim Barasoff going around 54 car. In the 6th spot, 1 lap down. You can see Joe Miller's machine up there. Jim Barasoff's going to pull over to the right here and let the 54 car by, I believe. 54 gets by, and look at see if he can't reel in that 4 car of Joe Miller. So the 54 of Ed Palumbo, after that round of pit stops, ooh, Ed's had some trouble there getting around. Ed Palumbo off the track. He was down about 5.2 seconds to Joe Miller, but got off the track. Fortunately didn't make contact with anything, but definitely not good for the tires. Our current race leader is the 83 of Don Kelligrew. Don is a 2.3 second lead on Joe Miller, and I don't believe Don has made his final pit stop. And I may be wrong about that, and I guess I'm not wrong. So here he is, 83 car making his pit stop. It's almost as if he was listening to me. Don, go into the pits. So that surrenders a lead to the 4 car. So Don gonna make a 4 tire change for his final pit stop of the evening. So the 4 car, if Joe Miller, 11.9 second lead on the 54 car. Back here looking at the 65 car, heard some chatter there. He is looking up at the look out of the front of his machine as he looks ahead at Jim Barasoff's 71 car. Dan's 4 laps down. Looking ahead at Jim Barasoff in 71, 54, second place car of Ed Colombo. Jim get wide, and Dan Richter's able to get that position on the track. Again, that's not a race for position on the grid. Jim's running in the 6th position. Dan's running 9th. And ahead of Dan Richter right now, you see the 54 of Ed Colombo. It's 13.6 seconds down to the race leader. Looking at the front of Joe Miller's car. Jump out here and look at the trackside camera. Joe Miller, 25 laps in, with a pretty comfortable lead. Sure, he's not going to be looking to get too racy now. Be able to come away with the win. Cross the line, we'll be starting lap 26. Hearing that the 71 car is making his pit stop. So the 71 car going to come in for his final pit stop of the race. The 4 car has worked his way out to a considerable lead here, 14.2 second lead, 26 laps in. Kind of see where that would put him. So he currently sits in 7th position. John Stanley's not here, Jim Barasoff is. Ed Colombo currently running 2nd on the track. Dan Richter's here tonight. Dan's running 9th. Tim Lansbury currently running in the 5th position, and Mitchell Smith not here tonight, running in the 2nd position. Tim Lansbury, we're hearing that he's got a speeding penalty, so adding insult to injury. So the 82 car, getting word on the radio that he may have to do a drive-through. Take a look and see if he has to come back in. So our 5th place car, our season points leader right now, having some issues. Get wide off the track there a little bit. Lansbury. We're following the 5th place machine, the 82 Skyline Chili Ford. Long way around this course, so getting the word that he may have had a drive-through, may have to do speeding in pit lane, may have to do a drive-through here, so we'll find out. He might be arguing with the NASCAR gods. See if they won't change that. I suspect that that's not going to take place. So the 82 car currently running 5th. Right now our leader is Joe Miller. Jimmy John's Ford Fusion, 16-second lead on the rest of the field. So early race incident, he's been able to recover. Starting lap 28. And a 16-second lead on the second place car of Ed Palumbo. So far, Tim Lansbury has not come in. So they said that he was speeding. Paul Brown, we're getting some word that Paul Brown may have had some issues. We'll take a look at Paul. Oh, Paul gets hard into the tire barrier. That car just snapped back around on him, so Paul's going to retire his machine. Again, 82 car, Tim Lansbury thought he got caught speeding. There's a word on the radio, but not heeding that penalty apparently. So maybe his discussion with the NASCAR booth has worked. Right now the 4 car leading the field. Take a look at his laps compared to the other drivers. Ed Palumbo, so he's still running 1.4 seconds faster, well, about I guess a second faster than the 54 car, our second place car. So Joe Miller not backing off, 17.5 second lead. So lap 29 leader. He's got about a lap and a half here. Keep it on the track, keep things intact, and he might be walking away with a win. Check on our 54 car of Ed Palumbo. See where he is on the track. Just behind him is Dan Richter. Dan's 4 laps down. 83 of Don Kelligrew running the 3rd position right now. Followed by the 30 of Bruno Champagne having a pretty good race in 4th position. Not too many problems for Bruno tonight. Tim Lansbury currently running in the 5th position. 1 lap down. Jim Barasoff currently running 6th, also 1 lap down. And Gino Bardelli currently 7th. So you see him get wide off the track, kicking up some dust. So Gino's currently 2 laps down. Following our leader here as he makes his last lap. So Joe Miller, 19-second lead on the 2nd place car of Ed Palumbo. So Joe Miller, Jimmy John's Ford Fusion, leading the field. 1 lap to go. Joe Miller, I'm sure, going to play this pretty conservative. Doesn't want to lose control of the car. He's got a pretty good lead. Be able to walk away with the win here. Getting some stuttering going on here. I'm not sure what's going on there. Apologize for that. What happened? Shut down a browser that was working. Not sure what was going on with the browser. We shut her down. So this last lap, just a few turns to go. Joe Miller. We said he was sitting in 7th in the season standings. Yeah, so you see he's 7th in the season standings. So this will definitely improve his standing. Comes along with the win here. Tough corner there. Been a tough corner for a lot of guys on the track. Joe gets through that corner with no problem. Joe coming up the hill here for the final time. So Joe Miller going to cross the line and win this race. Congratulations to Joe. So Joe Miller in the Jimmy John's Ford Fusion comes away with a victory in the main event. Ed Palumbo working his way around in the 2nd position. See him come over the line, finishing 2nd. 3rd place car, 83 of Don Kelligrew. He can't make his final turns. Bring his Spider-Man Toyota Camry home in 3rd place. Good top 3 for Don. Bruno Champagne in the 30 car. Watching him in the 4th position here, having a good run tonight, working his way through the S's. So Bruno Champagne, nice solid run for Bruno. Getting ready to make his car up, bring his car up the hill. So Bruno Champagne, Quebec, Canada native, bringing his car home in the 4th position. Tim Lansbury finishing 5th. Jim Barasoff spinning out here, going to bring his car home in the all right, the sitting here with the 4 car, watching him take his victory lap. I suspect we're going to see a burnout. All right, Joe doesn't do his burnout, but it's okay. We'll see if we can't get a interview with Joe. Hang on 1 second. So congratulations to Joe. Stand it.
Tempo. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
Again, we're just waiting for Joe Miller to make his way up to the broadcast booth. Give me just a moment. We'll summon Joe to the booth. All right, Joe Miller, congratulations on that race win. Tough drive there tonight, but you were fortunate to come away with the win. Awesome job.
Yeah, it was a fun race. Hard work. I had to come back from last place after the incident on lap 1, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you ran a very solid laps. I saw 2:03s, very solid. Even late in the race, you had some really fast times. And talk a little bit about if you what you want to say about that first lap, first turn incident there. Looks like you guys were just racing for the same real estate.
Yeah, I was trying to leave room on the outside there. Or stayed to the outside so I wouldn't make any contact, and somehow it happened anyway. But
Well, you did an
that's racing.
Yeah, you did an excellent job of coming back for that. I know probably had to take some time to get your thoughts gathered back up, and you did an awesome job. Come back with the race win. So um, I tell you what, that's a good way to do it. You were 7th in points, and definitely going to be moving up in the point standing this season.
Yeah, that makes it that much more enjoyable when you can come from behind like that. I really enjoyed that race.
Well, thank you very much for the interview. I appreciate it. We'll be looking forward to seeing you out here tomorrow night at the Saturday night series.
Yep, I'll be there. And thanks to you for everything you do.
All right, Joe. Thank you, bud.
Appreciate it.
All right, we got an interview there with our race winner, Joe Miller. One thing I forgot to do was show his car during the interview. Oh boy, this is always some technical things I've got going on there, but you see that freaky fast Jimmy John's Ford. Get a nice little spin around here and look at his car. So good paint scheme, Joe Miller. So I was hoping to have that up for the interview, but anyway, congratulations to Joe for coming away with the win tonight. So really speaks to how good of a driver he is of coming back from, there are no cautions here, but coming back from an incident like that and then being able to win the race. That is pretty amazing driving. So awesome job. So I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Again, this is StockCarSimRacing.com, and I'm Heath Johnson, and I run this Turn Left TV, bringing you the broadcast. So we'll look forward to you joining us tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is our Saturday Night Thunder High Octane Racing League Saturday Night Thunder Series. So Michigan International Speedway. That'll be a fun track. 100 lap race, 75% damage, and 3 and 4 wide at that track. So that's going to be an awesome one, and we look forward to all of you joining us tomorrow. So thank you very much, and we appreciate it. Have a good night.